So I did it at Hoonigan, but we were way more like run and gun, like no thought before turning on the camera, just turn on and do it. And then with my own stuff, but I've been doing it. I made 80 videos so far. So like,
no, but you're quick to stop and recap and
yeah, 80 videos. You know, like you get good at.
Well, it just shows you how good Jolly is at editing.
Yeah. But me and him worked well together because he like, I know what works and what doesn't. So if I say something and stumble or whatever, I'm like, he has to like chop through that and like make it work. So I'll just like, I'll start over. Oh, sorry, we'll get into this. Transition shot is like, we're here. Then you see me loading up the car and the car driving and a street sign and then you pull up. Or we just created like that whip device to get you from I'm here, now I'm back in my shop.
Oh.
Rather than like a hard cut. Like it just kind of like, you don't notice it, but it helps you like blend scenes.
It does. Because because I saw him yesterday doing this and I'm like, and then I went home because I wanted to go up and see to learn and I'm like, oh. All right, so here we are. So Chevelle number 6, Legacy Series. Vin just spent a few miles in 2 cars. Rob's car, Glenn's car. He's a taller guy. He's been around a lot of cars. Really excited to have him drive the car, share with us what he thinks.
That was my first my first like pro touring muscle car drive. Only other muscle cars I've driven have been like my dad's, and then I had a 69 C10, but it was like just like lowered on mostly stock suspension.
And it was a long bed, right?
Yeah, long bed. And it had suspension work done, but like nothing to the level of even the Gen 1 cars here. So yeah.
So this is a new one. It's the body on chassis, or the Uni-Body as we've been calling it. We've got the seats come with it all set up. You weld the body to the chassis. It's got the dashboard that you've seen in the other car that's now bare metal.
Oh,
you can
cool.
see
it's cool to see it like that because it looks like the factory dash with like trim rings and stuff, but it's actually all one piece. That's crazy.
It's all polished by our guy over on the east side, and then there's pieces that bolt in. There's a piece that bolts in here and a piece that bolts in here and here. So they can be kind of interchanged a little bit and allows it to be easier to polish.
It's crazy to see like the seats in stock form look so bad in this car.
Yeah.
But then when you guys, I guess you take the headrest out and then you do like a different retrim on them, they look really natural.
Yeah, we just make new covers that go over the same thing. We sand the foam a little bit to change that just a tiny bit.
But yeah,
it's funny, new covers so it doesn't look new car. Look new car.
But like as is, these look terrible in the car. Yes. But then when they're changed, one of the first things I complimented was that the seats don't look too aftermarket. Yeah, so it's pretty funny how you could change that.
So just the seating, they come to us this way. We powder coat the chassis and then weld it into the car. It lowers the seats even further than what you have in there.
I got a dumb question. So I know you can buy most of these body panels and stuff new. Mm-hmm. Are these repo parts or is this like, did you buy a donor car just for the shell?
I buy the donor car just for the shell. This lowers the quality of the car that we need because we're replacing all the floors. Right. So this is what we got here with this car. It's got the independent rear suspension. It's got everything in it that's in those cars. It's from a different chassis manufacturer, but it's really all the same stuff. You can see the fuel tank in the trunk. These fancy tie-down straps we have here.
Yeah, this is more my speed right here.
Yeah, this is pretty nice. So you can see the fuel tank where it just bolts right into the chassis. You can see the wheel tubs that go in, the trunk support braces that we weld in, the frame. You can see where the chassis welds to the body here.
Wow, so that's pretty wide, those tubs. So that's how you fit. What size wheel goes on the back? A 12?
A 12.5.
Wow.
With a 345 tire, and then it also has to have a little bit of clearance for the independent rear suspension and the up travel.
Wow.
So.
And then I think you said this car, the Uni-Body version, like the motor sits lower or further back?
The motor's about the same spot because of the firewall, but there's more ground clearance because now we brought the bottom of the body or the bottom of the chassis up to the rockers instead of the chassis hanging down that 1.5 inches.
Oh yeah, I want to see that actually because you were saying that it doesn't have like a frame rail anymore, right?
The frame, the chassis is the frame.
So you make a rocker that goes.
We're making an extension because the old rocker would come down and splice together.
Right.
And the outer rock, and you would see the spot welds, and they look terrible. You might even be able to see it from that one over there. When you stand back at them, you can see all the spot welds that are painted. Yeah. And so we get rid of that and smooth it, and so that becomes even. So you gain ground clearance while maintaining the same ride height, while at the same time moving the seats down even further than what we have in the Chevelles.
Crazy. Can we take a look under the hood?
Yeah.
Wait, I have a question. This might not be relevant to this at all. Marcus was saying on the other car he was building, you guys like rebuild the whole door to work with like new stuff? Is that the same on this or no?
This is the prototype door that we're working on, those parts. You'll be happy to know that these slider mock-up pieces we're working on are based on Porsche stuff.
Nice.
Because we opened a door on a GT3 and we're like, man, this is pretty solid for not having a frame. And so it caused us to do some research because these cars, they weren't great then. We can adjust them where they're pretty good for a while. But then just the parts that we get are from China. There's just stuff, like you're just really limited. And so we've been trying to raise the bar from what was just a one pivot point that just moves it up. That's all metal to metal and rattles. And this is pretty solid for not having a vent.
Right, yeah. That's
so,
cool.
Yeah, so good catch on that. But it started with the Porsche.
Right, yeah, because I noticed the power window motor. And
it's Mustang based.
Yeah.
So now it's going to want to take out crowds. but it
just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Just the doors.
Yeah.
Yeah, just the window. So up front, we've got a Don Hardy LT4 that should be 850 horsepower easily. It's got our carbon fiber inner fenders in it.
Yeah, these are so cool. What the heck?
It's got the CNR radiator. It's got the start of our cover plate that we usually just powder coat these, and then there's a badge that goes on here for each customer. This one, we're putting a big blower on it from Harrop. The coil covers don't quite clear the Harrop, so we're going to design different coil covers to go on the brackets to clear the Harrop that clear on the other ones.
Wow. So this is the same engine placement as the other car?
Same engine placement.
Okay.
Just it's a different chassis, so there might be a few differences because the rack is a different rack and some things like that.
It
going
is cool
at the
though,
Roadster shop.
Like the engine is pretty far back in comparison to like a factory car, right?
Just a little bit more back, because you're probably used to your dad's big block that's probably longer and has bigger diameter pistons, and so some things. Plus the bracket system's not on here.
Right, yeah. Optically, it looks like, I thought it was like mounted way further back.
But it's really not, because you still got to put an alternator here and some of those things. And so we're trying a Tesla booster on these cars. So we made our new prototype firewall with the Tesla booster. We had to move it up, which is going to change the pedal ratio, which is a good thing in these cars anyways. So moving that up to make the booster clear the inner fender at this ride height is just one of the stance considerations.
Interesting.
But we're really trying the Tesla booster to allow us to have adjustable pedal pressure, because you set a spring that sets your pedal pressure.
Right. Oh, that's cool.
And so if a guy wants a soft pedal, he can have that. Or if a guy, it's just all the cars can have manual brakes, and you're like, oh, so you like a hard pedal? Here's a hard pedal.
So is it boosted or manual?
It is an electric pedal.
Oh.
But it's really just a switch. But you put a stiffer return spring under the dash that determines the pedal pressure. So you can use it where there's no spring. You could have no pressure, where you just barely touch it with your pinky and it'll stop the car. But if you want it to actually feel like brakes, that's where you adjust the spring under the dash.
So I know nothing about electric brakes. So it's electric module, and then it has like an actual physical like hydraulic master
uses a
cylinder?
Uses a Wilwood master cylinder.
Okay, I get it. That's cool.
And so they're pretty readily available. They use them from wrecked Teslas.
I love that option, actually. That's really interesting to be able to like dial in your pedal pressure how you like it.
And now pedal ratio doesn't matter.
Yeah. Right, because that's where all the annoying mechanics come in, when you're like, depending on the length and where the arm mounts to the, like, it all becomes such a disaster to get like the perfect pedal feel. Because
you might swap it from this car to this car that you're like, oh, the ratio that's in this car doesn't work with this, but I can't really change the pedal. Right. And that's where, we figured out we had to move it up, which puts it into the cowl vent a little bit. So there's some nuances that come with it. Dang. But overall, we're trying it on the first time in this car.
That's cool. When this is done, I gotta drive one of these. And
we can do that. I'm really interested to see with the chassis if it lowers the center of gravity, because everything's lower in the car, and especially you put you and me in there, that's a good chunk to lower.
Yeah.
And so putting those in the car should be stiffer, should be quieter, should be just a lot of the things that you gain in modern cars we should be able to get into these older cars.
I want to do a mountain run in one of these things.
Yes.
See how it feels up in the twisties.
Yes, that's the plan.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, just sitting on the ground for the first time, wheels and tires.
Is V3 going to be carbon everything exterior.
That's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming. We've developed the hood. We've developed some of those things. I'm trying to figure out, I think, where to trim the fat off these cars strategically. The hood is pretty heavy and big. I'd like to build an LT motor that doesn't use a blower that makes a lot of torque.
Right.
I don't think it needs to have 800 horsepower. It's nice.
No, yeah.
But if it just made a lot of torque and that would cut 100 pounds off the top of the engine that's up high. You know,
what do these weigh, like the Gen 2 ones, you think will weigh?
The Gen 2s, I think, are going to be a little lighter because you're kind of combining some things. But we probably gained some weight back with that LT4 motor. The other cars weighed about 4,100 pounds with all the insulation and all those things.
Wow,
and
4,100. That's a big car.
Big car.
Yeah.
You're used to what?
3,000s? Yeah. Wow, that's, I mean, yeah, but you think about it, it's like you think about like my 360 is small, aluminum, everything, you know, so it makes sense. Like, this is a big steel car from the 70s.
I'd rather get in an accident in one of these.
For sure.
Than something
I'm
else.
not talking trash because it's still, it's cool. I was just surprised. It's crazy because I bet there's probably a lot of weight savings in like carbon and stuff.
Yeah, but I want to save it in the places that are going to, you know, because you'd like to get some more weight back here.
Right.
You know, we have drawings for a car that we've done with the transaxle to move it back here that I'd like to do at some point. And that would move 150 pounds from up here to back here.
Yeah.
And so there's, you know, going there with the hood and doing some things. I think there's some things you could really move around to make these cars even more fun to drive.
Because weight savings is one of those things that could really ruin a car too.
Yeah.
Like,
they get too light.
Putting lightweight parts in certain spots, like there's just no getting around how it feels.
Yes.
You know, like a lot of times like composite doors and stuff could feel very like flimsy and like not have that same like feel as a nice like steel or aluminum door.
When you shut the door, it's not going to have that nice thunk noise. It's going to be more of that cardboard, carbon fiber noise where you're like, oh, we saved a bunch of weight, but it sounds
and like
like
Lexan windows and stuff, like we'll always have more sound coming through them and stuff. Yeah, so there's like, I get strategic weight reduction, smart.
Yes. So on the billet, the other thing we did on these cars is when we mounted the billet dash, it's obviously heavier than the plastic piece. But it gives us the nuances to run all the modern switches, but it's also not the flimsy plastic piece. So it makes less noise and does those things. So with it being a little heavier, I think this thing weighs, 9 or 10 pounds. It starts from like a 200-pound block of aluminum before it's machined. Holy
crap.
But you can see how strong the thing is. But the other thing we've done that we try to do in all these cars is locate the steering column and everything off of this dash bar that we make.
Right.
So all of the electronics bolt to different places that we design on the bar so that this dash pad can come out with these screws that are right here, right here, right here, and right there. You pull those screws out and the dash pad flops right out.
Wow.
You can access everything you need if there's something you need to check. But it also makes the steering column, you can see that it's just the steering wheel with no nut on it.
But like the column itself is like
the column
rigid.
is super stout, except that bolt's loose. But
yeah, it's in progress.
Yes. But I just don't like cars where you get in and the steering wheel is moving around and does all those things. And these cars were kind of known for that stuff. And so that's what we've done. The lower section of the dash is still plastic from what was, but it's just makes this thing a lot nicer and allows you to polish things and make it prettier than the painted plastic that it was.
The finished car that I drove, the dash stood out to me the most of like feeling way more premium than the factory like plastic dash. It's crazy. Like just that one bit, you're like, wow, this feels substantial.
Yes.
Yeah.
And all
the 200-pound block of aluminum will do that, I guess.
Yes. Once you machine it down and Steering wheels are a new design for us that we have that we've made these rings where they're split. And so the inside ring is hollowed. So, because we originally did these at first out of solid chunks. And then we got to thinking, man, these things, they're not light, but they're not heavy. I think
this is the same wheel it's in the other car? So you wrap these in like, the
only difference, we wrap them. But the only difference with this wheel here is that it's two halves and it's hollowed inside.
Oh, cool. It's cool
to cut down on weight.
The beginning of the finished product is not what I would have thought a steering wheel. Like that looks like a very extensive steering wheel. You don't think as much goes into them when you see them, you know?
Well, when you get to the end and you're like, man, it just looks kind of stockish, but it looks really nice.
That's
and
crazy.
So, but yeah, we're getting ready to, a few guys want to swap out to the lighter ring and put that on their car. And so we'll get those wrapped with Alcantara.
Nice.
And
well, I love the ride height of it. It's definitely the thing that stands out the most is just like the stance is crazy. Yeah. I honestly sort of love these Steely wheels too. Like these are just like huge rallies.
Yeah, they're made by Forgeline.
Nice.
And they're quality lightweight wheels they make. These accept a hubcap. They make a wheel that is just like this. It doesn't accept a hubcap that looks like you're going to run it without. So it's a little nicer on the inner hub, but it's just gives it that plain Jane look.
What's all the dots on the hood for? Are you guys scanning the hood to do something, or?
Yeah, so that's our way of being cheap with the dots, is we put it on tape and we put the tape on there with the dots, and then we scan the hood, and we've made a new hood that's taller to clear larger. We thought that we were going to have to do that to clear the larger superchargers, but we were extending this bulge forward to put an air vent here to let hot air out, and then there's a stock vent that's in the Ram Air hoods that we've made a vent that replaces, that also helps get the heat out from underneath the hood of these cars.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we're in development of that, just getting to the point of using it.
Cool. Nice.
So.
Well, damn, I can't wait to get this one out on the road.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Maybe later this year. Well.
Later this year, man. I don't get anything done that fast, so that's sick.
We're supposed to be professionals around here. We're supposed to be. So.
Dude, well, thanks for showing me around.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
All right.